Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. Have you ever noticed how easily you get hurt by small remarks, pointless troubles, or failures each time? Do you feel overwhelmed, upset, or angry? If yes, then here's a secret you need to hear. Real strength is not about avoiding problems, but how you respond to them. In this video, I will share with you how to act as if nothing bothers you. A powerful arc that helps you master your emotions, live peacefully amid life's storms, and become so strong that no one can easily break you. Let's dive in. Life surrounds us with an endless stream of noise. Not the kind of noise you hear with your ears, but the noise that rattles your mind, criticism that cuts deep, failures that bruise your spirit, pressures that weigh you down, and moments that stir anger or sadness inside you. It's almost impossible to avoid. But have you ever stopped to wonder why these things affect us so deeply? Why does a careless comment from a stranger sting so much? Or why does a single failure feel like the end of the world? The answer lies in how we let these external events control our internal world. When you allow the opinions of others, unexpected setbacks, or daily frustrations to dictate how you feel, you become like a marionette, pulled in every direction by strings you can't see. Instead of leading your life, you're reacting to the world, and often not in ways that serve you. I've been there. There was a time when a simple negative comment online could ruin my entire day. A minor mistake at work would haunt me for hours. I felt like I was constantly at the mercy of whatever the world threw my way. It was exhausting and worse, deeply disempowering. The truth is, emotions themselves are not the problem. They're natural responses, like waves that rise and fall in the ocean of our minds. What matters is whether we let those waves sweep us away or learn to surf them. Unfortunately, most of us have never been taught that emotions can be trained, managed, and even transformed instead. From childhood, many of us grow up reacting instinctively: anger when criticized, sadness when rejected, without pausing to understand or redirect these impulses. Think about a toddler who throws a tantrum every time things don't go their way. That's pure, untrained emotional reaction. As adults, we might wear suits and carry responsibilities, but inside, many of us still have that toddler's impulsive emotional reflexes. It's like emotional muscle memory we never exercised. Why does this happen? Why are we so easily swayed? Part of it is biological. Our brains evolved to react quickly to threats, real or perceived. When someone insults us or when things don't go as planned, our amygdala, the brain's alarm system, kicks in. It floods the body with stress hormones, triggering fight, flight, or freeze responses. This is survival mode. But here's the catch. In modern life, many of the threats we face are not life or death. They are social slights, professional setbacks, or personal disappointments. Yet our brains react as if they were. This mismatch between ancient wiring and modern life creates a constant state of emotional reactivity. If left unchecked, this wears us down, causes stress-related illnesses, damages relationships, and most importantly, steals our power. But this is where personal mastery comes in. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means understanding their nature, acknowledging them, but not letting them control your choices or your mood. Consider Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In his memoir Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl describes unimaginable suffering in Nazi concentration camps. Yet, he discovered that even in such extreme circumstances, people could choose their attitude. He famously said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." Frankl's insight is profound. The moment between what happens to us and how we react is where our Freedom lies. Most people react instantly, emotionally, unconsciously. Few pause, reflect, and decide. I remember an incident from my own life that illustrates this beautifully. A few years ago, during a critical presentation at work, a colleague unexpectedly interrupted me with harsh criticism. My first impulse was shock and defensiveness. My heart raced, and I felt the familiar heat of embarrassment. But instead of reacting immediately, I took a deep breath, paused, and reminded myself, this moment does not have to define me. I chose to listen calmly, absorb what was useful, and respond professionally. Later, I realized that this pause not only saved my dignity, but also earned respect from others in the room. That single moment of emotional control changed how I approached conflict ever since. This kind of mastery is accessible to anyone, but requires practice. Another example comes from martial arts, where the philosophy isn't about brute force, but control and balance. A skilled martial artist learns to remain calm and centered even when under attack. Their strength lies not just in their physical power, but in their ability to regulate their internal state amidst external chaos. So, if life constantly sends you storms, the question becomes, how do you stop being a puppet to those storms? The first step is awareness. Notice when you're reacting, not responding. Recognize the triggers that pull your strings. Is it a certain person's tone, a fear of failure, a wounded pride? Next, practice pausing. Even a few seconds of pause between stimulus and response can change everything. That pause is a moment of freedom. Finally, develop mental habits that strengthen your emotional resilience: mindfulness, reflection, visualization, and self-compassion. Remember, emotions are temporary. They come and go like clouds. You are the skylight, calm and unchanging beneath the clouds. In the next parts, we will explore practical techniques to build this emotional mastery so that you can live your life on your own terms, unshaken by the noise around you. When I say not caring, I can almost hear some of you bristle. Isn't that just being cold? Being uncaring? Turning your back on others? It's a common misunderstanding. But here's the truth. Not caring about the wrong things is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. It's not indifference in the sense of apathy or cruelty. Instead, it's a form of mental resilience, the ability to protect your mind and heart from distractions, drama, and negativity that don't deserve your energy. Think about your day. How often do small annoyances, petty criticisms, or irrelevant opinions derail your mood? Maybe a comment at work, a message on social media, or gossip from someone you barely know. How much power do these things really have? Yet, they steal your attention, waste your energy, and pull you away from what truly matters. Learning not to care about these things, not because you don't value yourself or others, but because you choose to care wisely, transforms your life. Let me share a story that illustrates this beautifully. A well-known business leader, who I'll keep unnamed to protect privacy, faced a brutal social media campaign from jealous competitors. The attacks were personal, vicious, and relentless. Many would have reacted by defending themselves online, engaging in heated arguments, or even retaliating with insults. That's what most people do, reacting emotionally, giving power to negativity. But this leader chose a different path. Instead of reacting, he smiled quietly, maintained his focus on his vision and goals, and kept building his business quietly behind the scenes. He didn't respond to provocations or try to win the online battles. What happened? His company continued to grow rapidly, attracting clients and partners impressed not by the noise, but by his calm professionalism. Over time, those who tried to drag him down only highlighted his strength and composure. His silence spoke volumes louder than any argument. This story is not just inspiring, it's instructive. It teaches us that the strongest move is often choosing not to react at all. Think about this. If you respond emotionally to every slight, you give away your power. You become a slave to other people's drama, to their need to provoke you. You hand over the keys to your peace of mind. But when you learn to say, "I will not let this bother me," not because you don't care about yourself or your goals, but because you choose to conserve your energy for what truly matters, that is mental mastery. I've personally experienced this in my own life more times than I can count. Once, during a team project, a colleague criticized my work unfairly in front of others. I felt the familiar spike of anger and embarrassment rising. The easy choice would have been to snap back, defend myself aggressively, or worse, stew in resentment. Instead, I chose to pause. I reminded myself, does reacting right now improve the situation? Does it serve my goal? The answer was no. I smiled, thanked the colleague for their input, and moved forward with my work later. I spoke privately to clarify misunderstandings, but I didn't allow the public moment to shake me. That calm response preserved my professionalism and earned me respect. More importantly, it kept my focus intact. Not caring in this context means selective caring. It means deciding where to invest your precious mental energy. It's like a gardener who weeds out the unnecessary plants so the flowers can grow stronger. Your mind needs the same care. Of course, this is easier said than done. Modern life bombards us with endless distractions, social media notifications, news cycles filled with negativity, workplace drama, and personal conflicts. The temptation to react, to defend ourselves, to prove a point, to get validation is overwhelming. But those who master this skill become immune to these distractions. They are like bamboo in the wind, flexible but rooted, bending but unbroken. This skill also protects you from burnout. Imagine how exhausting it is to fight every battle, respond to every criticism, and carry every grievance. It's a recipe for stress, anxiety, and eventually giving up on your dreams. In contrast, mental resilience built on selective caring allows you to conserve energy, focus deeply, and move steadily toward your goals. So how do you cultivate this powerful mindset? First, start by observing your reactions. When you feel the urge to respond emotionally, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? Will this reaction help me or hurt me? Second, remind yourself that not reacting is itself a reaction, a choice that asserts control, rather than surrender. Third, practice visualizing yourself as calm and shaken by trivial matters. Imagine yourself as a rock in a stormy sea, unmoved by waves crashing round. Finally, build daily habits that reinforce this mindset. Meditation, journaling, or simply setting boundaries on your exposure to toxic influences. Remember, not caring about what doesn't serve you is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. By protecting your mental space, you make room for what truly deserves your attention, your goals, your passions, your well-being. And ironically, when you stop chasing validation from every corner, people begin to respect you more, because strength that doesn't need to prove itself is the strongest kind. Building an unbothered mindset is not about becoming emotionally numb or indifferent to everything. It's about cultivating practical techniques that allow you to choose your reactions consciously and protect your peace of mind. Let me share some powerful strategies that anyone can start applying today. 1. Pause before reacting. One of the simplest yet most profound techniques is learning to pause before you respond. Imagine this. You're in a meeting or a conversation when someone says something that irritates or upsets you. The natural impulse is to snap back, defend yourself, or let anger take control. But what if you stop for just a moment? Ask yourself two simple questions. Will reacting emotionally help me get closer to my goal? Is it worth sacrificing my calm? Over this, most times, the answer is no. Pausing even for a few seconds interrupts the automatic flow of emotional reaction and creates space for a thoughtful response. I've personally used this technique many times, especially in high-pressure situations. Once, during a heated family discussion, a relative said something hurtful. My first instinct was to react defensively, but I remembered to pause, breathe, and assess instead of escalating. I chose a calm tone and expressed my feelings without blame. The conversation shifted from confrontation to understanding, and relationships stayed intact. This pause is like a mental reset button. It helps you avoid unnecessary conflicts, conserve emotional energy, and respond from a place of control instead of reaction. 2. Visualize yourself as calm, and unshaken visualization is a surprisingly powerful tool to rewire your mind. Every day, take a few moments to close your eyes and imagine yourself moving through life with perfect calm. Picture a version of you who doesn't flinch at criticism, who walks through chaos with grace, who remains grounded no matter what storms rage around. This mental image isn't wishful thinking. It's training your brain to become that person. Science backs this up. Studies show that vividly imagining positive behaviors and mindsets activates similar brain regions as actually practicing them. Over time, your subconscious aligns with this new identity, making it easier to embody it in reality. A mentor once told me, "You become what you see yourself to be." So, if you constantly visualize calmness and resilience, your brain prepares you to act accordingly when real challenges rise. Try this before you sleep or start your day. Visualize yourself calmly handling situations that usually upset you. Feel the confidence and peace. Over weeks, you'll notice your reactions begin to shift naturally. 3. Distinguish constructive criticism from destructive comments. Not all criticism is created equal. One of the biggest drains on our peace of mind is taking every negative comment to heart. But there's a crucial skill to develop: learning to tell the difference between constructive feedback and destructive negativity. Constructive criticism is given with the intention to help you improve. It might be uncomfortable to hear, but it's valuable. Destructive comments, however, come from jealousy, insecurity, or misunderstanding. They are meant to hurt, belittle, or discourage, and have no real basis. In my experience, accepting helpful feedback has been instrumental to my growth. Early in my career, I struggled with perfectionism and sensitivity to criticism, but I learned to listen carefully, extract the useful parts, and discard the rest. For example, a manager once pointed out that my presentations were too detailed for some audiences. Instead of feeling attacked, I took that advice seriously, and it improved my communication skills dramatically. On the other hand, when faced with harsh online trolls or baseless accusations, I learned to remind myself that those words reflect the speaker's issues, not my worth. Mastering this discrimination frees your mind from unnecessary suffering and helps you grow stronger and wiser. 4. Focus on bigger goals. One of the best ways to keep small annoyances from derailing your peace is to have clear, meaningful goals that pull your attention forward. When you're focused on what really matters, your vision, your purpose, your dreams, trivial problems lose their grip. I once coached a friend who was consumed by workplace gossip and petty conflicts. She was stressed, distracted, and losing confidence. Together, we clarified her career goals and broke them down into concrete steps. Gradually, she started shifting her focus away from daily drama and toward building skills and connections that aligned with her ambitions. The difference was remarkable as her vision grew clearer. The noise faded into the background. This technique is about choosing what you give power to, not everything deserves your mental real estate. When your energy flows toward your highest priorities, peace and motivation grow. 5. Practice self-discipline to control emotional reactions finally. Building an unbothered mindset requires discipline, the commitment to choose calm over chaos consistently. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Early in my journey, I realized that emotional reactions often come from habits formed over years. Breaking these patterns means training yourself daily. Set small challenges. Don't respond immediately to a provocative message. Take deep breaths when stressed. Journal your emotions instead of acting on them. Over time, these habits form a foundation of steadiness. The people you admire who seem unshaken, they have practiced this discipline relentlessly. It's what allows them to move through storms without losing footing. Remember, self-discipline isn't about suppression or denial. It's about choosing to act in your best interest, even when impulses tell you otherwise. Asterisk these 5 techniques: pausing before reacting, visualizing calmness, discerning criticism, focusing on bigger goals, and practicing self-discipline form the pillars of an unbothered mindset. Applying them requires patience and persistence, but rewards you with a mind that commands respect and a life lived on your own terms. In the next segment, we will explore how these techniques help build mental resilience and quiet strength that others admire. When we talk about staying calm under pressure, it's easy to say it in theory, but the real proof lies in how those who have faced extreme adversity live it. Let's look at some extraordinary examples that teach us more about resilience and calmness than any textbook ever could. Nelson Mandela. Forgiveness in the face of unimaginable hardship. Nelson Mandela's story is one of the most inspiring examples of emotional mastery and strength. Imagine spending 27 years locked away in prison cell. Years of isolation, hardship, and injustice. Many would understandably become bitter, angry, or consumed by hatred. Mandela, however, made a different choice. He decided not to let anger control him. Instead, he chose forgiveness, patience, and persistence. In his own words, he said that hatred only harms the hater. What's remarkable about Mandela is not just his ability to endure suffering, but his power to remain calm, focused, and dignified throughout. His calmness was strategic and deeply powerful. It enabled him to negotiate peacefully, unite a divided nation, and inspire millions worldwide. Mandela's story teaches us that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to stay steady on it. To not allow pressure or injustice to crowd our inner peace. Elon Musk. Vision over doubt and failure. Another modern example is Elon Musk, a figure who's repeatedly faced failure, criticism, and intense pressure, yet continues to push boundaries. SpaceX had multiple rocket launch failures before finally achieving success. Tesla faced financial crises, production delays, and public skepticism. Through all of this, Musk remained unwavering. He didn't let external doubts or failures dictate his mood or derail his vision. This kind of mental toughness is rare. It comes from a deep clarity of purpose and relentless focus. Musk once said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." His calm persistence amid failure shows us that staying unshaken is less about avoiding setbacks and more about committing to your vision with steadiness and faith. What can we learn from these stories? Both Mandela and Musk demonstrate something vital. Resilience isn't just about enduring, it's about mastering your internal world when external circumstances are chaotic. They teach us that strength is not the lack of problems, but the power to remain composed in their presence. But these aren't just extraordinary figures in history. Their lessons apply to everyday life. Personal story. Staying calm during a crisis. We want to share a personal story to bring this closer to home. A few years ago, I was managing a project when suddenly the team faced a major unexpected crisis. Deadlines were missed, key people left, and pressure was mounting from all sides. Initially, panic set in, but I remembered the lesson from leaders like Mandela and Musk. I paused, took a deep breath, and focused on what we could control. I gathered the team, communicated clearly, and prioritized solutions rather than problems. Instead of reacting emotionally to setbacks, we adapted, stayed calm, and pushed through. Not only did we complete the project successfully, but the experience strengthened our team bond and taught us how powerful calm leadership can be. The science behind staying calm under pressure. There's also scientific backing for why staying calm matters. When we're under stress, the brain's amygdala triggers fight or flight responses, flooding us with adrenaline. This can cloud judgment and lead to impulsive reactions. Leaders like Mandela and Musk, consciously or not, have trained their minds to regulate this response to activate the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thinking and decision-making. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and focused breathing help develop this skill. Building your calm resilience inspired by these examples. How can we build our own calm resilience? Start small. When you feel stress creeping in, practice pausing. Take deep breaths. Remind yourself that pressure is temporary and that you can choose your response. Visualize yourself as someone who moves through challenges without losing composure. Remember, calmness is a habit cultivated over time, not an instant trait. When challenges come, meet them with patience, clear thinking, and persistence. Final reflection: Mandela and Musk didn't avoid difficulties, they faced them head-on, but chose how to respond. Their calmness wasn't weakness, it was their greatest strength. We all have the power to develop this mindset. It begins with deciding not to be ruled by pressure or failure, but to become steady, focused, and unshaken. There's a timeless truth that often gets lost in the chaos of modern life. Your mind is the ultimate battlefield, and mastering it means mastering your entire life. What does this mean in practice? It means that no matter what happens round you, whether storms rage outside or challenges come crushing in, you have the power to choose how you respond. I can't stress enough how transformative this realization is. Too often, people believe that circumstances control their happiness, their peace, their sense of worth. When something bad happens, they feel defeated, overwhelmed, or victimized. When praise comes, they ride the high, only to fall again when it fades. But the greatest lesson from those who succeed and live fulfilled lives is this: you are not your emotions. You are the one who observes and chooses them. Why control of mind matters? Think of your mind like the captain of a ship. The waters round may be rough, the storms fierce, but if the captain stays steady, the ship can navigate safely. When you let negative emotions, anger, fear, resentment take over, you hand the wheel to the storm. You lose direction. Your life feels like it's controlled by external forces. On the other hand, when you train your mind to be calm, focused, and steady, no external turbulence can dictate your course. I've seen this firsthand. Years ago, I faced a difficult period of personal and professional setbacks all at once. It felt like life was piling troubles endlessly. For weeks, I let frustration and despair wash over me. I lost sleep. My work suffered. My relationships strained. Then one day, I decided to change my approach. I started practicing daily mental training, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, and consciously redirecting my thoughts away from negativity. Slowly, I regained control. Challenges remained, but I no longer felt powerless. I was steering the ship again. Daily training builds mental strength. Mastering your mind isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process. Like building muscle. The more you practice, Awareness and control. The stronger your mental resilience becomes. Start by observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Notice when negativity creeps in. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is this feeling serving my goals? Then consciously replace unhelpful thoughts with affirmations or constructive reflections. For example, when anxiety strikes, remind yourself, I have handled difficult things before. I can handle this too. These daily mental exercises build a calm, grounded mind that can weather life's storms without breaking. The freedom in mastery. What's incredible is that mastering your mind brings a profound sense of freedom. You stop being a slave to every mood swing, every external event, or every person's opinion. You reclaim your power. Imagine the peace in knowing that no matter what chaos unfolds, your inner calm remains unshaken. That is true power. Not control over others, but control over yourself. Inspiring others through your mastery. When you master your mind, you don't just change your life. You become a beacon for those around you. People notice calm confidence. They're drawn to it. They seek your guidance and trust your judgment. In my experience, those who demonstrate steady minds inspire teams, strengthen families, and lead communities. You become a lighthouse in a turbulent sea. Practical steps too. Start to die. You might be wondering, where do I begin? Practice mindfulness daily. Even 5 minutes can make a difference. Focus on your breath. Acknowledge your thoughts. Then gently let them go. Journal your emotions. Write down what you feel and why. This creates awareness and reduces emotional overwhelm. Set clear intentions. Remind yourself each morning of the mindset you want to embody. Surround yourself with positivity, people, books, environments that uplift you. Accept that setbacks are part of growth. Don't resist but learn from them. A story of mastery and transformation. A friend of mine once shared how he transformed his life by mastering his mind. He had a temper that often led to conflicts at work and home. After years of damage, he committed to change. He started small, noticing when anger bubbled up, choosing to breathe and step back rather than explode. Over time, his relationships healed. His career improved. He became known for his calm, reasoned approach even under pressure. His story shows that no matter where you start, mastery is possible with intention and effort. Closing reflection. Mastering your mind is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It empowers you to live with clarity, peace, and purpose. Remember, life will always bring challenges, but you decide whether they break you or build you. Choose mastery. Choose freedom. Choose to be the captain of your ship. Now that you know the secret to becoming your strongest self, start small. Pause the next time you want to lose your temper, or choose not to respond when provoked. Remember, life's challenges are inevitable, but you can choose to stand firm and keep moving forward. Share in the comments below the last time you managed to stay calm in a difficult situation.